皆さんお疲れ様です。ジャパンインターン .net のカルロスです。日本語を勉強している皆さんの日本のインターンシップを探しています。よろしくお願いします。今日は日本語を勉強している生徒、それとも日本でインターンしているAtsushiにちょっとお話を聞かせていただこうなと思っています。今日はよろしくお願いします。
お願いします。
今日はまずじゃあ自己紹介からお願いします。
はい、僕の名前はAtsushiです。2ヶ月前にアメリカから日本に引っ越しました。で、僕は日本人なんですけれど、でもずっとアメリカに住んでたから、そして日本語なんかわかんない日本語のところとかね、勉強するためにカルロスにちょっと、教えさせてもらいました。今もやってるんですけどね、ない人から習うのってちょっとなんか
そうだよね、変わってるよね。
変わってるからだからそれをね、でもね、すごく助かってもらっています。
よかった、ありがとうございます。Atsushi君は今 N2 のために、日本語を勉強していて、それとも漢字、敬語、今一緒に勉強してるんですけれども、同時にインターンシップをしてます。So Atsushi, can you tell us a little bit about why did you want to come to Japan and do an internship in Japan?
Well, I wanted to come to Japan because I wanted to come here ever since I was little, and I wanted to do other I wanted to pursue like the entertainment industry, and well, I guess the internship has something to do with the entertainment industry.
I guess it does. It does.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a filming company.
Yeah. I want to try to avoid corporate as much as possible.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Don't go for corporate.
Yeah. But if I have to, then I will. But as of right now, I want to try to avoid that as much as possible, and retail or hospitality type of things.
As a Japanese person who lived abroad and now is in Japan, what kind of things surprised you about Japan this time?
How much it changed but stayed the same at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, where we are at Shakuji-koen is the time when I was here when I was a kid, because this is where my grandparents used to live. And I don't know, the station is a lot bigger because they did a huge remodeling. So it used to be a lot smaller. So that really changed. And I don't know, right after this I might visit the elementary school that I went to when I was a kid, or just look at it and see if anything changed from the outside. So
how do you consider yourself? Do you consider yourself more American, more Japanese, a mix of both?
Okay, so this is a very interesting story. So when I was ever since I was a kid till like maybe I was 28, I felt more Japanese. But then like the past 10 years, like something about me kind of changed, including my accent, right? Because before I didn't have an accent. It's when I started noticing I started having an American accent was like the past 10 years. My, Nikke, like Japanese American friends, say the same thing, that they started developing an American accent like the past 10 years. So, wow.
And how are Americans different from Japanese, like personality-wise?
I guess Americans are more thinking about or like care about themselves more than other people. One thing that really changed here was people don't talk to each other as much as I remembered. You watch like other people on YouTube or TikTok, they say like, oh, Japanese or at least people in Tokyo are to themselves. Like, no, that's not how it used to be. They're still kept to themselves more, like back then too, but people would talk more. It wasn't transactional.
Right. I guess in a very big city, that makes sense,
so,
right?
Yeah, but now it's like it's only transactional. Like it's like 90% transactional now. Like before, because when I was a kid, I remember I had to say "Ohayo gozaimasu" to like my kinjo, my neighbors, right? So yeah, so these days we don't nobody does that anymore.
As a Spanish person, I can certainly feel how Japanese people communicate different than Europeans in general, but especially Spanish people. We speak so much. I mean, you can tell from me. And yes, so regarding the internship, how did you find about the internship-looking services that I was providing?
Oh, I was actually looking for like a coaching, like a Japanese coaching program, and then you just offered the internship to me.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh, I wasn't looking for an internship, but that's cool too.
You get two things for the price of one. You know, for your American part, would you recommend, you know, the Japanese classes first with me? Why? And if so, or if not, why?
Well, if you're someone like me, like then definitely, because you know, like I grew up Japanese, right? Like, I grew up with the language, but there's like holes that I need to fill, right? And just taking normal Japanese classes is kind of weird for me because it's like there's a lot that I know too already. The thing I wish there was a service for is like, you know, pitch accents, right? Because there's not many places of people that offer it. I mean, that's how I learned, you know, American accent when I was a kid, because you know we had people trying to say R to me and stuff like that, and then like, you know, it's like they just kept saying it over and over and over again, and then they made me say it over and over and over again until it sounded more natural.
Right.
So like I think I have to go figure that out somehow.
I think it's, I mean, you have a nice accent in Japanese. I don't think there's nothing
okay, so here's the funny part, right? A lot of non-Japanese people think that I sound natural, but a lot of Japanese people can hear my accent, my American accent, right? So that's like the very unique position that I'm in.
じゃあご視聴者の皆さんにちょっと判断していただきますね。私の日本語はどうなってるか多分大丈夫だと思うけどね。
I don't know how it is as a non-Japanese person with you. Like I've only seen you do it with somebody else, right?
Right.
Do this, right? So like I said, like people like me who has a bunch of holes in my Japanese, who feels like it's a waste of time to actually just take a Japanese class because you know there's maybe even 30% of it you might already know, and that feels like a waste of time. So that's why it's better to just get one-on-one coaching to fill up the holes. It's
not really something I should say as, you know, as a Japanese teacher, but what does happen a lot with, you know, teachers who are Japanese, it's exactly like for them it's just natural, right? For Japanese people, like Japanese it just feels natural, and Japanese teachers who are Japanese, sometimes they don't really understand what makes Japanese hard for foreigners. And I think that's one of the things that, you know, makes my classes maybe a little bit different and maybe a little more useful, especially for Hafu and also Spanish and English speakers. But, well,
yeah. Well, I'm not a Hafu.
Right. Well, Hafu or 海外育ちの子供、まあ子供じゃないけど。
それは it's a curse of knowledge.
Right.
You're something you already know, but you don't know that other people don't know.
Well, thank you so much, Atsushi. It was a pleasure to have you. It is a pleasure to have you taking the classes as well. I hope you continue with the internship, and I wish you a lot of luck in finding a job. 今日は皆さんご視聴いただきまして本当にありがとうございます。それじゃあまた後でね、ジャパンインターネット.netをぜひ確認してね。バイバイ。